All right, guys, Will here with Revive Hardwood Flooring. We're at Jaybird Studios. I came here a couple years back, and when I got a look at the floor, I thought, it's painted, right? So if we look down at it real quick, like you can see how the black is just sitting on top. Illustrated by, like if I scrape it and there's no wood, everything's just flaking off, and it shouldn't perform that way. So if you get a look at the overall floor as well, one of the things that they want to achieve is obviously like a matte black. We have matte walls. Everything is black from top to bottom. They even have soundproofing. This is a soundproof studio as well. So, you know, I've been in this. I've taken classes in here, and one of the things that I noticed right away is you get a glare from the floor, and they're trying to create a light absorbent place, and that's what we're going to do with ebony on this maple floor. I think it's maple. I haven't stripped any away yet, but and the other part is it's going to be an ultra matte finish, which actually it looks powder coated, absorbs all the light. So we're going to really achieve what they're going for, which is a matte black floor. See how it looks after. Well, the floor is what we call a full trowel fill. So, you know, as you see from the video, obviously, there's, you know, you get everything. The thing that, you know, the point of this part actually is to say that how important the trowel filling is. You have to fill your entire floor. Like, there's no way around it. First of all, you know, I think in the previous videos and the previous pictures, you could actually see, and I'll insert the image, how the floor looked bumpy, like ridgy, like every board you can still see, right? And that's part of not trowel filling, but also I don't think the floor was like necessarily sanded before. So, but I see it all the time where you don't do a trowel fill, and the coating goes in those little gaps. So you end up with like coating in here, and then it's smooth, and then like coating like running down in between, and then it's smooth, and then coating going down. So it adds this texture to it that shouldn't be there. Like, you know, doing a full trowel fill like this helps make the floor appear super, super flat. The other part to that, you know, the last part wasn't trowel filled either. As you see, it was like a painted black, or like some kind of, I don't know what kind of, I think it was Osmo, but I don't know what like line or what it was supposed to do. So this is what I want to point out, is this here. So when one doesn't trowel fill, like all that coating, stain, it just runs down between the boards. You know, when I was vacuuming, I got some pictures. When I was vacuuming, I was constantly pulling out paint from in between the boards. Now, I was initially getting worried about that as I was vacuuming, thinking that I'm gonna continuously be pulling that black stuff out of the boards. But now that I've trowel filled it, what I'm really hoping is that that kind of seals it in, for lack of a better term. The other part to that is the lines I see on the floor. I'm not sure if you can see them. Doesn't have to over buff it. Just let it touch it. It's just thorough. All right, Sunday about 2:30 now. It looks like super blue behind me, but the coating when it's wet actually does look kind of blue. I'll see if I could kind of turn it around here. Actually, I can't switch the light, so. I don't know if you could tell, but you can tell because it's black floor. Anyway, I guess like a couple notes, couple observations during the process. First of all, 1,000-foot square box. Sounds easy. It's like a lot of big machine, but it's maple stain and it's black stain. It wasn't a cakewalk. Ideally, you take 5 days on a job like this, maybe 6 if you can. Like, you really should let the coating dry overnight and let the boards dry. you know, a studio like this, actually, it's quite dry in there. So I notice it takes the, just like the wood sucks it up, and that's why it kind of like, it's cupped it slightly. Anyway, so that brings its own problems, but it's actually nothing that, it's pretty normal. Everybody in a dry environment or winter time, you know, you're adding moisture to a dry product, so it wants to suck that moisture in. Anyway, you can see how some of it's drying back here, right there, a little bit, but it's quite wet. I ended up using 2 3/4 jugs on the third coat or second coat, and 3 full jugs on the first coat. Yeah, there's something that I notice. See, in the butt joints at the end of the boards, they all have this like haze to it. Now, the only thing I can think of is contamination from over the years. Just like, you know, there's a gap there, and like cleaner, cleansers, chemical, like just all gets down in between, and the way bone of traffic works, anybody that works with bone of traffic or a waterborne product, it kind of wicks it out. Anyway, very happy with the result. I don't see really any scratches, any edger marks, any drum marks, any buffer marks. There's a slight swirl over there, but it was like from the when I was taking the stain off, I kind of pressed a little too hard with the buffer and not enough padding. But anyway, very happy. Wasn't a cakewalk. Looks awesome. It's nice that it is a square box, but it, you know, 3.5 days for a job like that it's a lot of work. So one guy with a helper, I would say, makes it, you know, 3.5 days reasonable. But if you had 2 guys knowing like perfectly what they were doing, experts in this stuff, right? It's you can go. You don't have to communicate. You don't have to stop and talk or anything like that. So anyway, it's beautiful. I'll post some pictures afterwards when it's all dry. I'll be back tonight, probably 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, something like that. It's 2:30 now, so 6 hours. Should be good and dry by the time I get back. So later. All right, here we go. Just finished the stained ebony with the ultra matte, or raw as we call it, shine. So in the video, I mean, there's a little bit of shine just because the phone picks up light, but you know, from our point of view, it's ultra matte. The one thing I notice about it, this is all contamination from like, this is a sweat. This is a studio, so they sweat on the floor, and they clean the floor after every session. So it's getting clean probably 8 to 10 times a day, like mopped with chemicals. So that's what all this is. It's just a chemical reaction, and this floor just dried an hour and a half ago, maybe. So so it's still curing anyway, like, but they have to resume classes. So we're getting the infrared panels on that they have here. It should help speed up the curing. I mean, but overall, I'd say it looks incredible. It's, I don't know. I think it should achieve what they need as far as performance. 2 coats of commercial grade finish, 6 gallons of 2-part component went on this entire floor. Looks great.
That's